about Spider-Verse?
Wait a second. Spider-Verse. Insane movie. Great soundtrack, great animation, like such a fun concept too. What'd you think of it?
I loved it. I just loved it so much. It was such a good movie. It was just so well done. Anyone who says otherwise is just a hater and wants to be on the hate train.
Dude, there's so much thought and detail that goes into it. You've probably seen it, but it explains how at the beginning of the movie, Miles, moves, I think it's like either at 12 frames a second or 16, something kind of slow and like glitchy almost, you know? Yeah. He looks kind of like a really fast flip book. And it's because he's, immature. He's a little kid. When he first gets his powers, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to control them, so he's moving so awkwardly. Yeah. And in the scene where he's, wearing his kind of spider suit pajamas and he's swinging through the trees with the other world's Peter Parker, Peter's smooth as can be. He's shown at like 30 frames a second is how they like did the animation. Mm-hmm. And later in the movie when he's on top of the building, everyone went off to fight, he was left behind. Yeah. And he's on the window and he jumps off, window shatters. Like the iconic scene, man, is when he starts flowing at 30 frames a second. Yeah. So he looks smoother in it. So those little details are so dope in it. I love it.
I loved it. And that's what my number one Stan Lee cameo is when he gets the suit. I think it didn't Spider-Verse come out between Stan Lee, like right after Stan Lee's death?
Possibly. Let's check.
Because I think because that cameo hit harder than the rest.
Yeah. So it was 2018 that it came out. So
Spider-Verse came out in 2018.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy that 5 years later is when we get the sequel. Seems like it hasn't been that long.
I thought it came out like maybe 2 years ago.
Let's see. Stan Lee passed away November 2018. All right, so let's look up.
I think Into the Spider-Verse came out in December.
Possibly. Come on. Where is this?
But the part where Stan Lee says...
Why is this so hard to find?
When he buys his PJs, his Spidey PJs. Mm-hmm. And he says, what if it don't fit? And Stan Lee says, it always fits. And obviously, he points to the sign that says no refunds. Mm-hmm. But I think there was a way bigger... I choose to believe, I should say, that there was a way bigger meaning in saying that Spider-Man is more of like a mantle than anything. Everyone grows into it. Everyone grows into, not everyone, but like the characters grow into their role. Yeah. At first they're awkward. You're saying they're awkward, they don't quite fit in it, it's kind of weird, but they eventually grow into it. And I think that can be, I like to tie a lot of Spider-Man lessons into my life. And when he said like everyone grows into it eventually, it's kind of like us in our life. Things might be awkward and weird now, but it's about the constant perseverance of growing into your life.
Yeah, and you were right. Stan Lee died in November, came out December, so it was like right after his death. So yeah. Even though it was an animated cameo, it still hit hard.
Hit way hard.
No, it definitely holds so much more meaning than simply just the literal fact of like growing into clothes. Mm-hmm. It's growing into the hero, into that role, because in his universe, Peter Parker died. He experienced it, and that was like, a huge blow to his world. Spider-Man was just like so well known, so loved, And now he gets the same powers. He has to take up all that responsibility after already seeing how much weight was on Spider-Man and how the public loved him. So for a high schooler to take that on is like insane, dude. And he had a ton of growth to go through.
Oh yeah.
Which is why I'm super excited to see number 2, because now he's more comfortable with his powers. You can tell by the trailer, you know, he's a little sad without his friends, thinking of Spider-Gwen and stuff, and she comes and gets him. It's gonna be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
I really hope it's not too much. I don't think it will be, but just with literally hundreds of Spider-Man, I feel like they might try to make it too funny, because the first one had a lot of like serious and sad parts in it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they might lean towards, you know, trying to be more comical.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they don't. I don't think they will when it comes down to it. Like, I wouldn't bet on it. I'm just nervous.
Yeah.
Because Marvel has had a rough time lately, as everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see.
I'm excited because we finally get to see Spider-Man 2099, and
Show him off, man. Show him off.
this guy right here, number 1.
Number 2099.
No, he's from the year 2099, bro.
Okay.
And I'm just excited for it because 2099, I don't know if you know, but he is Mexican Irish.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, with the inclusivity of Miles being, I think he's Puerto Rican and African.
I think so.
I think, like, yeah, we do get Hispanic representation, but 2099 has been around since, he's been for a while. Like, when they started the 2099 series, they had Thor 2099, they had a bunch of other characters. And what I love is he's not exactly a hero, he's an anti-hero. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people hear the word like anti-hero and think, oh, trendy. Mm-hmm. But like, he's the OG anti-hero, you know?
Yeah.
He starts out, he's just working, he's just doing his thing, and his boss, I can't remember if he's gonna quit or not, but his boss is like, no way, Jose. So he basically gets him addicted to drugs. Ooh. And that's how he keeps him at the company. But in his attempts to get rid of his addiction, fuses his DNA with the spider, and then, you know, Spider-Man's 2099 powers are insane. He's got talons, and he can bite into people and inject venom. It's crazy.
That is crazy. I wonder how much they're going to show
Yeah.
in the movie then.
They yoked him up good, though.
Yeah.
Like, he looks jacked out of his mind. But I'm excited because I know he might get portrayed as a villain for a bit.
Yeah.
And in my heart of hearts, I'm going to go into that movie open-minded, you know, because it's a new iteration. But I feel like deep down inside, he's doing it for a good reason.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't just keep him as a villain.
No, because they've got the Spot.
Okay.
So I feel like he'll be more than anything a pushing factor than a main villain, kind of like the Prowler was. He wasn't necessarily the main bad guy, but he was like a pushing factor.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, I just hope it's not like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, where Wanda was like the villain of the movie and then last 2 seconds like goes good again.
Yeah.
I hope it's a little more original than that.
Miguel's pretty hardcore, bro.
Yeah. No, I got high hopes for it.
I do too.
I am going in, I've learned to go into pretty much every new movie with just no expectations. Not necessarily low ones, but just no expectations.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the movie, take it in, and not try to come up with my own theories or anything, because then I won't be like disappointed with anything, you know? So
that's one of the things you say that, and it's one of the things I like get mad at Reagan, my wife, for, because she's a big time reader, loves to read, and I always joke with her that she's read all the books and that she basically knows how everything's gonna turn out.
Yeah.
And we'll be watching movie shows, and she'll say, "I saw it coming," and I'm like, I'm just trying to enjoy the movie. When I watch a movie, I'm there. I'm in the movie. I try not to pick up on foreshadowings or anything because I like to be surprised. I like for it to all come new to me. I don't like to, be guessing every turn and then be wrong or right. I just like to go through the motions of the movie.
That's the way to watch a movie, dude. Try to keep yourself surprised. I know too many people that always, at the end of the movie, like, yeah, I saw that coming. Oh, I saw that coming. It's like, who cares, man?
Yeah.
Like, you ruined it for yourself.
You're going to tell the writers that you saw it coming?
Yeah.
You're going to write them a little letter?
And, like, I have gauged movies on if I can just sit there trying to enjoy it, but then figure out the ending anyways. For example, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I called the entire movie in the first 30 minutes because it was just so freaking predictable.
Yeah. I
tried to sit there just to enjoy it, and I couldn't because it was too predictable. So it was a bad movie to me. It's a really bad movie.
If I predicted it, it sucked.
Well, if I predicted it and my predictions were cool and the story was cool, then it'd be good. But the movie itself, I just don't.
I thought it was
back to Spider-Man.
Yeah, back to Spidey.
We'll talk about this after, just by ourselves, man. I don't want our fans to hear
us arguing.
My vulgar language. No, just kidding.
Okay.
But all right.
So what is your number one Spidey movie?
It would feel wrong to not put No Way Home at the top. So I'm not even gonna think about it. Harder than that. Spider-Man, No Way Home, number one Spider-Man movie for me.
For me, I'd have to do Into the Spider-Verse. Just because, like I said, I'm a sucker for the Spider-Man at the root of being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I think that one takes you through the trip of Spider-Man becoming Spider-Man the best. So I'll have to do Into the Spider-Verse number one.
Okay. What's your number two?
No Way Home.
No Way Home?
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. If it wasn't top three, I'd be really disappointed, but...
Disappointed when my opinions be wrong.
Yeah. You would just be wrong at that point. You would just be lying to yourself if it wasn't top three. Number two.
What's your number two, Mr. Big Money?
This one's hard, dude. But I think I would go The Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
Because, like I said, it just holds a lot for me personally. A lot of nostalgia for me because it was my freshman year, 13, 14 years old. That's like one of the first movies I can really remember enjoying. Like a couple Marvel movies before that, I was just like, a little bit younger, so I don't remember my first encounter with those, movies. So as a superhero movie, it was the first one that I can fully remember going to the theater, seeing the poster for the first time, and I really loved Andrew as Spider-Man. So for that reason, I'd put it as number two. Number three, I'd go Spider-Verse. I love the animation of it. I love the music, the character development.
Yeah.
So that would be my top three.
My number three would have to be Spider-Man 2002. Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Number one.
First one.
Have to be.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen it the most. I had the VHS for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's what dawned my love of Spider-Man. I don't know fully. I don't know if that's the first piece of like Spider-Man that I seen. I'm trying to remember if it was that one or the animated series Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's between those two. That was my first exposure to Spider-Man.
Yeah. And that was your number 3, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got Spider-Verse, No Way Home, the OG Spider-Man.
Yeah. Toby.
Okay.
Number 4, I feel like I would have to do... I don't have to. But this spot goes for The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
That's good. No, I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that all 4 of yours are all different series. Yeah, they're all different Spider-Mans, you know?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Like I said, it's just hard when you do the individual trilogy or duology.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to rank them because I feel like putting like one of the trilogies in third just doesn't do it justice.
Yeah.
But now we're going to have to put something all the way at the bottom of the Spider movies, which is going to feel even worse.
Easy for me, man.
Oh my god.
Easy. I already know what my bottom one is.
I don't want to know.
Wait, let's count real quick. So we got 3 from Toby, 2 from Andrew, 3 from Tom, and a Spideyverse. So we got 9 total.
9.
Alright, so I'm going to my 4th. I feel like just out of respect, I have to throw Toby up there.
You don't have to do
No,
anything.
I feel like I do, because at this point the next few are all pretty even. So Spider-Man 2 as my number 4. Doc Ock, the classic, most memorable, iconic train scene where he stops the train and he gets carried back. It's a masterpiece. So I would go with my number 4 as Spider-Man 2. Going into 5, so we're right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Wow. All right. For me, number 5, I feel like I would have to do Toby. Toby's number 2 with Doc Ock.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. And I know I put number 3.
You put them different.
I put them different. But
as a series, yeah.
As a series. In individual movies, I think number 2, you could watch it at like any moment. You know, back in the day when we had cable TV,
Mm-hmm.
I think number 2 was the one that aired most of the time.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like I always saw Doc Ock. And it was always the bank scene. I don't know why. It was always the bank scene that was when I was flipping through channels. Boom. Yeah. Doc Ock robbing the bank.
Plus, it's like with No Way Home, it amps up number 2 even more because Doc Ock was such a huge part in No Way Home.
Oh yeah.
That it just makes you want to go back and rewatch Spider-Man 2. So.
However, my number 6. Oh gosh. I feel like I'd have to do number 3. Spider-Man. With my boy Venom and my boy...
Oh, man. You know what you're putting that ahead of, man.
I know. Oh. But it's a good movie. And everyone can hate me for it. You can scrutinize me. But it's my opinion. And no, my opinion is not wrong. Because it's my opinion.
You're simply just wrong, man. But no. Okay. My number 6.
He gets with Gwen.
Yeah,
Gwen
but it was
isn't
a bad
whiny.
Gwen, dude. I didn't like that Gwen. Not after.
I didn't like that MJ after the first one.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Bully Maguire.
Bully Maguire is not enough for me.
Oh, it's enough for me.
But let's see. I think I'm on 6. So I have Homecoming, Far From Home, the first original Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man 3. So as my number 6, I'm going to put Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming. I think it's a great movie. It's got Iron Man in it. It's got great action, great development, but like I said, pretty much all these movies until the last one are pretty much even for me.
Yeah.
So like, they're all like right there. So it's like Homecoming as my 6, number 7. Far From Home.
Far From Home.
I really want to put Toby not in my bottom 2.
You've already done it.
I've already done it. So Far From Home as number 7, and then, I mean, you can guess 8 and 9. 8, the original Spider-Man. 9, Spider-Man 3.
I can't believe you did my boy dirty like that. Eddie Brock is coming out
easy,
as Venom to get you, bro.
All the way down the bottom.
No.
Alright, let's hear your last one, sir.
Alright, so I'd probably put both the Hollands. I'd probably do Homecoming first, then Far From Home, and then last I'd do
The Amazing Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeesh.
I liked it, but like I just said, I think 2 just does a better job of building. The beginning scene when he's on the manhunt for Uncle Ben's killer, I didn't like the tone shift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny. He's messing with that one burglar.
Yeah.
He's messing with him. And it's funny. And then all of a sudden, murderous intent. And it's like, for me, that was, I don't know if that was the right shift. You know?
For that specific scene that they were going through, series of scenes with him trying to track down Ben's killer, yeah, it is kind of odd. But what we're going to get into next of like who's the better actor, or like, you know, who's like the better Spider-Man, that scene specifically where he's messing with like that one robber is something that I loved about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So I can see why like you would put that at the bottom of them. Doesn't mean you don't like it.
Oh, I love them all.
Yeah.
If I could rank them all, they'd all be S tier.
Yeah. So, no, I think they're fair lists. And like I said, after my top 3, they're all like right by each other. Like they're all so even.
Yeah.
And then just for me personally, Spider-Man 3 is just like lower than them. But so like a pretty even list.
Yeah.
So getting into who's the best out of the 3 live actions. I'm going to just say what I think, and I'll explain later. Toby holds the most nostalgia. And plays a great, nerdy Peter. Andrew Garfield, I think, is the worst Peter Parker, but the best Spider-Man. Tom Holland is the perfect mix of both. He's the perfect Peter and Spider-Man combination. My reasoning for the... I'll go into a little more because I'll let you explain your thoughts. And I meant to say, Toby is a great Peter. So that's where he holds strong. I don't think his Spider-Man was as strong as the other actors. And that's just like, you know, writing issues and whatnot. But he was the best Peter. Andrew's the best Spider-Man. Tom Holland is the best well-rounded. So, in my book, Tom, Andrew, Toby. Ouch.
You say you don't want to hurt my boy Toby, and all you're doing is spitting in his face.
Yeah. I can't say anything else.
Dirt in your eye.
He's gonna put some dirt in my eyes. But it's not his fault, it's just the writing, it was the times. And for me, like, I just enjoyed the newer ones more. They were more my Spider-Man when I got more into comic book movies, superhero movies. And he's great. Like, if I were to give them points, it'd be, you know, all within 2% of each other. Just 2%. Right there. If you were to grade their test scores, man, Tom Holland 100%, Andrew Garfield 99.5, and Toby 99. They're all right there. Wow. They're all right there, man.
Yeah. It's hard to rank them because it just feels like you put one above the other and it just doesn't feel right because you're like, they didn't have the same opportunity, they didn't have the same anything,
same technology, nothing.
Yeah. And for that reason, I think when I think of Spider-Man, I think of like Tobey Maguire. That's just, I'd have to put Tobey first. Because I feel like they all have their balances.
Mm-hmm.
I would put Andrew second and Thomas third. Because...
completely flipped from mine.
Because Tom Holland's Spider-Man, as much as it ties into the storyline, and it's the same situation as you, they're all right there neck and neck. But I feel with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I feel like he's the most genuine to the comics. You know?
Mm-hmm.
He's just the most, for me, made his costume out of like latex, doesn't have advanced web shooters, just basic Spidey.
Yeah.
And that's when I think of Spidey, it's him. Now, Andrew had that, you know, that mix, and I just feel like Andrew's Spidey was so acrobatic. And when you think of Spidey, you think of acrobatic. He's a spider with you know, no fear of falling.
Mm-hmm.
So and then Tom's is just, I feel like the technology for me is what kind of puts him in last, because he is somewhat reliant on it, except for that one scene in number one.
In number one, no, dude. Got to go to the scene in number 2.
When he's
the hallway
closing his
scene
eyes,
with
yeah.
Mysterio.
Is Peter Tingle?
Yeah, dude.
It's
Peter
good.
Tingle is overpowered, man.
But that's the thing, is it took him all the way until number 2, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before he was relying on the suit. Whereas both Andrew and Tobey had it from the get-go.
Yeah.
So for that reason, Tom for me is third. But they're all neck and neck.
Yeah. So I get that reasoning, like he does rely on technology a lot at the beginning. But for me, that's another reason why he is number 1, is because, I mean, all their situations were very different in their personal stories. But since he had Tony Stark and he had that technology, that's just what he grew to know. But I think it makes him, in my opinion, an even greater Spider-Man, because he learned all of this and then later had to really just focus on his instinct. And it showed that progression that he went through, and just that growth as a superhero and his own powers. Whereas Tobey and Andrew just already kind of had it, you know? So I like that it showed that progress up. And now at the end of No Way Home, he doesn't have Tony, he doesn't have access to any of the Avengers stuff because he's forgotten. So I think in the future we are going to see a, less fortunate...
Yeah, the iconic suit at the end of No Way Home, it just looked like cheap, you know, how shiny it was, but that in essence is...
I think they just tried to make those end credits look a little too sparkly.
Yeah, I like the sparkle because it just screams like cheap, you know. And so that's Spider-Man.
I
He
love
has trouble paying rent.
the little detail of Toby's and Andrew's spider on his costume too in the front and the back. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm
That's
so
really
excited to see where they go in the future with it, man.
Spidey's in a good direction. He's in a good place. As opposed to what it was.
He just lost everything, man.
No, in terms of
film and the
film and the community.
I was about to say, you heartless.
He's not
fool.
in a good place, but he's learning.
He's learning. And it sucks, man. He's barely a high school graduate. Just lost his best friend, his girlfriend, his aunt,
his mentor,
his other sorcerer, powerful friend. And that's a detail like that I didn't catch in the movie. I waited for posts about it after. Is with Doctor Strange when he's first doing the spell and Peter keeps naming off people to add to it, like, oh, Aunt May should still know. But my girlfriend, Ned, he's my best friend. He's got to know. And so he fixes it, 3 or 4 times. I think he does it for like Happy too. And one detail I didn't catch is Doctor Strange like, this is your fault. You made me change the spell 5 times. And Peter, he's like, it was only 4 times. And Doctor Strange is like, oh, whatever. Doctor Strange changed the spell himself 1 extra time so he would remember too.
Yeah.
He wanted to remember Peter, and that's what makes like the ending just like so much more sad when he's holding together the multiverse and everyone's trying to break out. And he's just so sad because Doctor Strange is realizing that he won't remember the kid either if he goes through with that. But speaking of that scene where all the villains are starting to pop out, dude, I wanted so badly to see the silhouette of Miles. Because it was everyone, not necessarily villains, everyone coming in that knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Or like, who knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's what it was. So they're all coming. And so Miles should have been in that. And he might be as like the tiniest little thing. But I really thought they would show his silhouette or show Spider-Gwen or even show the pig, Spider-Pig, man. Because they all know that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, right?
Yeah. Well,
I guess Gwen not in her own reality, but when she spit on. Like that, I just expected that. I thought that would have been so sick, but it's too soon for anything like that.
Yeah.
Even though they did hint at Miles in the MCU in Homecoming. You remember that? They had Donald Glover.
Was the Prowler. He was playing Aaron.
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, I have a nephew that lives on these streets, man. I don't want these weapons out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Miles, man.
That is Miles.
Which was a big scare because a big rumor was that in No Way Home, Tom Holland's Spider-Man would die.
I didn't hear that one.
Dude, that was like really talked about. That they were going to kill him off to bring Miles to live action. That's how they were going to do it.
I didn't hear that one at all.
That would have sucked, dude. But I could see that happening in the future, honestly. Give Tom one more solo movie where that happens and a cameo in like the next Avengers and just call it.
The problem with bringing on Miles, though, is if you kill, it just feels wrong to kill Peter Parker to let Miles have that reign or mantle as Spider-Man. Because, for example, Spider-Verse, he was older, he was older, so when he died, it was like sad, whatever. But in Tom's case, I just feel like it won't fit. But it's not in character for Spider-Man to get up and be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's not who Spider-Man is.
Especially not Tom Holland's Spider-Man, the way where he literally sacrificed everything.
Exactly.
So at this point, he has nothing.
So I don't know if they decided to do that. I don't know how they would do it, but that's why I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
Or an editor. I'm just an enjoyer of the films.
Some films.
I like
Some
them all.
films.
I enjoy them all.
Of Spider-Man, yeah. I'm just talking Marvel in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But, no, that was good, man. I am excited to see what they do in the future. I hope it's soon that we get to see Spider-Man again, whether it's Tom or whether it's Tobey or Andrew. I would love to see all three of them together, not necessarily in the same film again, because I think their one film together is enough. I think if you were to go past that, it would just take away from how special No Way Home was.
Yeah.
But to see them all on the big screen separately again would be pretty great.
I think they should just open a studios where it's just Spidey. You know how they're like doing Morbius and they did Morbius and they're doing Craven. They should just do, if the actors want to, obviously.
Yeah.
If the actors wanted to, they should just keep making Spidey movies.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I'd love it. It'd be my dream come true.
Yeah. I just have I don't think I would get tired of Spider-Man movies.
There's just so much.
20 of them. I mean, we already have 9. 10th one's coming out. When we drop this episode, it's coming out today.
Yeah. I just wish that if they do pursue something like that, if there's like a writer listening or whatever, they they probably not, but they just dramatic, like a dramatic, like pick a different storyline.
Yeah.
You know, do explore the other Spideys. There's Spider Noir, there's 2099, there's just plain old Spider-Man, there's Ben Reilly's Scarlet Spider.
Dude,
there's just so many.
Yeah,
there's
just like
so much.
Spider-Gwen movie would be sick.
Spider-Gwen, yeah. A Spider-Girl. There's so much material out there that you could your book could be your screenplay.
That's why I'm scared with the new movie coming out, is that since we're gonna see hundreds of Spider-Man, maybe they think that's enough. You know?
I hope not. I would cry.
Maybe I hope they don't. I hope they don't just say, alright, we put everyone on the big screen, we're done. You know? I hope that's not how they go. But going back to, we mentioned we'd get to Stan Lee's cameos again. So what's your number one?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Duh. You said that.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, I was making sure we caught up on that, because I'm trying to think of other cameos and I'm just drawing a blank.
I forget which Amazing Spider-Man it was, but there's one where they're all yelling in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. That's number 2.
That's number 2.
Because number 1 is the library, and he only has like one scene. That one's hilarious, dude. That one's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah. And then in Spider-Man 1, he's down at the bottom during the parade. Is when he shows up.
Yeah.
And he has his cameo and he almost gets hit by the rock. And then I can't remember any of them. I'm drawing blanks.
Yeah, no, like, just got to look them up and just rewatch the movies, but...
Yeah, that's a good excuse to watch them all. Yeah. It'd be a great excuse to watch them all again.
Don't even need an excuse, man. They're all really... Pretty watchable.
They are.
Yeah.
Especially number 3 is my favorite.
You mean No Way Home number 3, right? But no, it's crazy how much Spider-Man has affected not only just like Marvel itself, but movies, you know, actors, people's lives, like, you know, saying how much you related to Spider-Man. All because Stan Lee loved the thought of a high school, a kid superhero, told that it wasn't going to be a success, made one comic anyways, and it just like sold out. Have you seen that interview, man?
It might have been the one where he says that Spider-Man's his favorite.
Yeah, I think it is, because he talks about how his manager or whatever like didn't want to release it, but he like, you know, wrote the first comic, threw it out there. The manager's like, a kid, no one wants to see like a kid superhero, that's not realistic. But Stan Lee loved the idea of it, threw him out there, and it just blew up. And the agent comes back, he's like, hey, so remember our favorite character, Spider-Man? And like let's make more of him. You know, of course,
Yeah.
Agent plays it off that way, and it just turned into one of the most iconic. You could argue probably the most iconic superhero
He's the best superhero.
in Marvel, at least. It'd be hard to be more iconic than I would say like Superman, but
Superman's up there, but Spider-Man's up there.
Spider-Man is up there.
I think he's number one, I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'd be happy if it was. Any other comments?
Mm-mm.
I think if we were to rewatch every movie, you know, like right now, because there's a lot that I forget. I'm sure we could spend so much time on each movie specifically, breaking it down, but I feel like we've touched on the most important topics, and this has made me more excited for, what's it called?
Across the Spider-Verse?
Across the Spider-Verse, yeah.
I'm excited for it too.
It's gonna be a good one, man.
It's gonna be a great one.
Soundtrack should be really good.
It's gonna be bumping.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a banger.
Well, thanks for tuning in. We've had a really great couple of weeks just starting out, I think. And thank you all for the views, the listens, the follows, and just the overall support. We're enjoying it. Hope you guys are too. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you could leave a like, even a comment, and hit that subscribe button, that'd be great.
Yeah, make sure you guys stay up to date because, you know, we are going to be dropping these every week. But who knows, we might drop some middle of the week. Just be spicy about it.
Yeah, no, we want to be more active the more we grow. So
yeah,
who knows what's going to happen.
We love you guys and we thank you for your support. And we'll see you guys next week.
Because long chairs are everywhere.